Okay, we're going to talk about the endocrine system. So, the role of the endocrine glands in growth, development, and metabolism. Growth and development, it's the endocrine glands regulate cell division and maturation. And then there's the uh, pituitary gland, thyroid gland, gonads, and the adrenal glands. The pituitary gland is for growth hormone and it stimulates bone and muscle growth. The thyroid gland is the thyroid hormone, T3 and T4. That's important for normal skeletal and nervous system development. Gonads, they release estrogen and testosterone, and these are responsible for puberty and secondary sex characteristics. And the adrenal glands release cortisol, and this influences tissue development and how we're able to adapt to stress. Regulation of metabolism, hormone regulate, hormones regulate. So the BMR, the basal metabolic rate, and then glucose, fat, and protein metabolism, and energy balance. And then essential hormones are the thyroid hormones, so that increases the metabolic rate. Insulin and glucagon regulates blood glucose, cortisol for protein and fat breakdown, epinephrine, which is for short-term energy. So next we're going to compare hormonal and nervous control of homeostasis. The nervous system uses electrical and neurotransmitters. They're faster and they have shorter lifespans, and they are normally targeted. And then the endocrine system, their hormones, which is chemical, um, they're slower and they have a longer lifespan, and widespread. They normally work together in stress responses. And then hormones that affect target cells, they bind to their receptors. And then chemical classifications are the lipid soluble hormones, which is steroids, thyroid hormones, and they can alter uh, gene transcription. Hormone receptor complex binds to DNA and it diffuses through membrane and binds intracellular receptors. Next is the water soluble hormones, which are peptides and cate- catechol- catecholamines. um, so these bind membrane receptors and they activate second messenger, um, activate uh, protein kinases, and have rapid cellular responses. So the chemical classification of hormones. Um, so there's the peptide, which is for insulin or and growth hormone, and is a water soluble. Steroid, um, for cortisol and estrogen, which is lipid soluble, and then and the last one is amine, um, which is the thyroid hormones, and it's a variable. So negative feedback maintains stability, and then positive feedback boosts up the stimulus until it's complete. Releasing hormones that regulate reproduction, growth, metabolism, um, water balance. The anterior pituitary receives releasing and inhibiting hormones from the hypothalamus, which they also generate hormones for the posterior pituitary. The anterior pituitary hormones, thyroid stimulating hormone, stimulates the thyroid gland to produce thyroid hormones, regulating metabolism. And then growth hormone stimulates growth, tissue repair, and metabolism. Adrenocorticotropic hormone stimulates adrenal cortex to release cortisol and managing stress. And then posterior pituitary hormones, antidiuretic hormone, which stimulates water reabsorption in the kidneys to regulate blood pressure and fluid balance. And then oxytocin, which stimulates uterine contractions during childbirth and milk release for breastfeeding. So major endocrine glands to identify are the hypothalamus, the pituitary, thyroid, the parathyroid, the pineal, adrenals, pancreas, and gonads. And the histological features, so pituitary is anterior, is darker, posterior is lighter, and has nerve fibers. Thyroid is follicle filled with colloid. I hope I'm saying that right. Then there's the parathyroid, which is dense chief cells, and then the adrenal cortex with the 3 layers of zona glomerulosa, zona fasciolata, and zona reticularis. The adrenal medulla, chromaffin cells, and then the pancreas, which is pale isolates among dark endocrine tissue. So aging on the endocrine system, hormone levels are reduced, the growth hormone decreases, causing reduced muscle mass, thyroid activity is decreased, leading to lower metabolism, fatigue, sometimes weight gain, glucose regulation issues, leading to higher fasting glucose levels and increased type 2 diabetes. Some of the imbalances and diseases are thyroid disorders like hypothyroidism and subclinical hyperthyroidism, and sleep disorders because of the decreased melatonin. And then endocrine and aging. So decreased growth hormone, which decreases the muscle mass, decreased sex hormones leads to menopause and andropause, and then decrease in thyroid activity in elderly. That's it for the endocrine system. Hope you enjoy.